And so school is busy pushing the river, which is a favorite saying in developmental psychology, pushing the river, which you don't have to do because it would be spontaneous if it's flowing, is are busy pushing the river because they say, oh my goodness, these kids aren't coming with social skills, with emotional skills. And emotional development is the same. Nature hasn't left us bereft. Development means development. They're spontaneous, and it all depends upon having mixed feelings. That is the very essence of emotional maturity. And so you can immediately see and divide adults this way, anyone this way. If they don't feel conflicted, they'll be stuck in immature relating, egocentric relating. They'll be stuck in either taking the other person's viewpoint and they lose their own, or they'll take theirs and they'll lose the others. This is a spontaneous development. And the question then is, what do children require for optimal development? And the answer is absolutely essential, and all the research supports this, so I don't understand, is that they require safe emotional connections with caring adults. And who is going to care? Moms and dads and uncles and aunts and grandmas and grandpas are going to care to create this context. It is so obvious that children were meant to be brought up in the context of attachment. And all the neural research now says when there is a connection of attachment, the brain is turned on for learning. So it optimizes learning. And it turns out that what is the brain most interested in? It's most interested in anything that serves connection. Why? Because without connection, we wouldn't survive. We don't have a drive for survival. We have a drive for togetherness, because survival we have a greater probability of surviving when our togetherness needs are met. So everything points to attachment, togetherness, connection as being the foundation of learning, of emotional development, of social development, not learning, not skills. And so nowadays we have this whole horde of people saying we got to teach emotional skills, emotional social, skills. We got to get them in at 3 years of age, at 2 years of age. And oh my goodness, this is the worst thing you could do, because how do you teach a skill? You teach a skill by giving approval and a nod when they perform and not. So they're not monkeys. And when we give approval for something that, we're pleased with, it makes them insecure. And security and attachment is the most important thing. So we are using their attachment needs against them to make headway. And so what is the common reinforcement in school? The happy face. What does it represent? The approval of the adults. We are creating the most insecure children ever.
There's so much to unpack here. And I really appreciate the specificity around language, because typically what I see is the word socialization. And I don't like that because it suggests conforming to me. And so I thought, well, let's talk about social skills. But again, that's not really honoring these natural biological processes. So I guess
you don't talk about a tree having skills. You don't talk about a plant having skills.
Right. And I think that parents, are looking for this language and they feel so incompetent when it comes to raising their children. So maybe this desire for socialization is really a desire for their children to grow up healthy and with the capacity to make friends, and thinking about it in that context. Then you can really start breaking it down and saying, how do I orient myself as a parent towards nurturing this natural process? It's like, let's not get in the way of it. So I guess that would lead into my next question is, there's so many forces that are getting in our way as parents in just doing what's natural and intuitive to us. And so if a parent really desires to nurture this social capacity in their child, what's the most important thing?
In parenting, there's a crisis of confidence. And that's the main thing. That's the main thing. You're right in terms of the basic desires are obvious. Obviously, we want our children to realize their potential, but our language doesn't even allow us to think straight because it's called emotional social what?
Learning, right? Yep.
It's called learning. And the fact is again, development is spontaneous if conditions are conducive. This is the science of development. It always has been. So this learning thing, so what is the problem? Well, in all of my travels, I'm convinced that the issue is not education, because in some places with some people, they're doing all the things that are necessary. It is confidence. You need the confidence that you are your child's best bet. It's your love they need. It's your invitation to exist they need. It's you holding on to them so nothing would come in between. It's bridging the things in between. If we had the confidence, you think of a mom of a newborn and think of what would differentiate two young 16-year-old mothers most. If a 60-year-old has a confidence that she is her baby's best bet, she steps forward to be that best bet. She starts reading the needs, taking the lead. She starts, giving the invitation to exist. We have parents now who believe, and even the word parenting never existed before. It's a new word because it wasn't a verb. It wasn't a verb. It's not something you do. It's who you are. And it's a child's attachment to you that gives you that state. You enter into motherhood and fatherhood. And when you enter into that place and take it seriously, you have that confidence, you begin to sense what it is that is required. And what is required is this invitation to exist that is unconditional, this sense of delight in their presence, this sense of being able to preserve a sense of connection and not let anything in between. When you lose the confidence, you look to others to become the experts. And this is my problem. And this is the irony, is you lose confidence when you think others have the answers and you don't.
Right. And I think that's such a beautiful idea because, in the alternative education movement, we talk a lot about the idea of permissionless education.